All right, question 5. The function f is defined by f of x equals the sine of qx. So nothing has been done to this function other than we've altered its frequency. Q is greater than 0. So the following diagram shows part of the graph of f between 0 and 4m. So the interval goes from 0 to 4m, and then q is the frequency, okay, where x is in radians. There are x-intercepts at 0, 2m, and 4m. Find an expression for m in terms of q. Okay, so m seems to be the x inputs along the graph, and then q is the frequency on here. So the way that these two things are going to be related is through the period and the frequency. So I'm going to start with the period equals 2 pi over b equation and then see what I got here. Okay, so it looks like this guy repeats his fundamental pattern in 4m. And then 2 pi over b, who's standing in b spot, the letter q. I'm trying to find an expression for m in terms of q. So that means I'm going to solve for m and have q's as my answer. So I'm going to cross multiply. And I am trying to solve for m, so I'm going to divide by 4q. All right, so I got 2 pi over 4q equals m. I'm going to reduce that. I'm going to have m is equal to pi over 2q. Okay. Let's see. It says the function g is defined by g of x is equal to 3 times the sine of 2qx. Just be careful. I feel like when some of these printed, the 2qx was not up in the numerator for some of the copies, and I don't know why. But it says the function g is defined by g of x equals 3 sine of 2qx over 3 between 0 and 6m. Okay, so now we are going all the way over to 6m. Ooh, sorry. Come on. 6m, okay. And it looks like we are changing the amplitude here. He's getting he's getting a dilation of 3. And then it looks like the period is going to be altered a bit as well. Okay, so we have to, on the axes above, sketch the graph of g. Okay, so let's talk about the transformations that g has. So in the new graph, we have g of x equals 3 times the sine of 2q over 3 times x. Okay, so I have an amplitude is now 3. Okay, so that's going to make the graph taller. And then let's find what the new period is going to be, because then we can kind of compare it to the old one. Yeah, all right, let's check it out. So I have period equals 2 pi over b, because I have to sketch this thing. So I know how much taller it's going to get, but I got to kind of figure out how stretched out it is, how many patterns it's going to repeat in a 2 pi. So up here in the new graph, I have 2q over 3 is my b. Okay, so let's substitute this in here now. I got to find out my new period. So I've got 2 pi over 2q over 3. So now I have 2 pi over 1 divided by 2q over 3. That's going to become 2 pi over 1 times 3 over 2q. So I have 6 pi over 2q. Let's kind of reduce this a little bit, and I get 3 pi over q. Okay, so let's compare this guy, the 3 pi over q, to the old one, which was pi over 2q. All right, so the old one was pi over 2q, and then the new one is going to be 3 pi over q. So compared to f of x, the period is now 3 pi over q. Okay, so 3 pi over q. Well, these are in terms of m. I have no idea what that looks like. So let's take this m that we've got over here and rewrite all these little tick marks on the x-axis in terms of q, because then I could graph this thing by hand, like I'm good. So this guy is going to become pi over 2q, because that's m, right? And then this guy's going to be pi over q. because there's now two m's, so it's going to be two of these, right? You see what I'm doing here? So I'm like, oh, this is pi over q, right? So I'm kind of just adding pi over 2q to each additional m, right? Okay, so then this guy's going to be 2 pi over q, 5 pi over 2q, and then this guy's going to be 3 pi over q. Okay, so I know the new graph is has an amplitude of 3, and it has a new period of 3 pi over q. So 3 pi over q. 3 pi over q is all the way over here. So I'm going to, what's halfway between this? This is going to be where this guy is crossing the x-axis, right? And then it's a sine curve, so we're going to go up first to the max, down to the min, and then complete at 6m. Okay. All right, so I got to go up 3 units, and halfway between 3m is going to be 1.5m. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 3 in between here, so I'm going to count over 3 from m. 1, 2, 3. And I got to go up 3. Okay. And then same idea for the min. Halfway between this guy is going to be 4.5, so that's 3 boxes, and I'm going down to -3. Okay, so this is my new graph. Oh, no, sorry, that's terrible. This is my new graph. My hand is sticking to the thing. Okay, let's label it. G of x equals 3 sine 2q over 3.